Now, some of you, particularly the younger guys out there, you may not recognise the name Andrew Ridgley, but I'm almost certain you'd recognise some of his work.
How can you not recognise that? Pop duo Andrew Ridgley and George Michael, also known as Wham, were, of course, one of the most successful pop acts of the 1980s, selling millions of records worldwide. And now a new Netflix documentary is taking a closer look at the pair's friendship.
Let's introduce the band.
George, I'm Andrew.
We had a #1 album, we had a string of hit singles, and we were selling out arenas.
How can the country be in love with these two idiots?
Well, I'm so delighted to say that we actually got the chance to speak to Andrew earlier, and I started by asking him what it was like hearing all those songs again in the documentary.
I actually found myself singing along and foot tapping. You know, I don't listen to the tracks as a matter of course, and so it was not exactly novel, but I hadn't heard them for a long time. But you know, the soundtrack, the music, when you listen to them back to back, it's such a great catalogue and repertoire. And the film, really skillfully directed by Chris Smith, he I think he pinpoints the essence, the essential attraction of Wham really well, which was you know, Wham was so much about George and our friendship together, and it really influenced and informed the whole thing. You know, it was so inextricably linked with our growing up and our youth that it was kind of a manifestation of that friendship throughout.
I knew that you guys were friends. I didn't realise that you were childhood best friends. And actually, in the documentary, George describes it as you guys almost destined to meet, because if it hadn't been for you showing him around the school, him sitting next to you, who knows what would have happened? There might not have been a Wham.
Yeah, well, there are loads of ifs and buts, aren't there? And you know, he calls it destiny, I call it pure coincidence. But you know, yeah, he was sat next to me, or rather, I put my hand up, and he was the new boy, and he was delivered unto my care, such that it was, and you know, the rest follows. But you know, life for everyone is full of sliding doors moments, and that, you know, one could argue is one of them. How do you deal with the fact George isn't here anymore? I mean, loss, grief, it's a process. Yeah, just how do you deal with that? It is, and you know, you don't get to 60 without experience that, you know, more than once. I would hesitate to suggest, but it's the case, and it's a question of, you know, one manages it, and there are stages of grief that one goes through. At this point, you know, I look back on our friendship and Yog and his career and his life with a positive perspective. You know, I said during the tribute that Shirley, Pepsi and I gave at the Brits that he left the best of himself for us, and which was his music, and that's the way I choose to view him and his life. You know, is with warmth, affection, and joy. You know, it was magnificent to see my best friend achieve the giddy heights. And from this point in time, that's how I view things, with a great deal of pride and joyfulness. Because there was always going to be... Was there going to be a reunion, a tour together? That didn't happen? There was all... Whenever Yog announced that he was... I mean, I appeared with him several times post-Wham, when he did the GM stuff. I went on stage with him numerous times, and we did Wham tracks together. There was never a formal sort of reunion. We always felt that Wham was never... I've said it in the movie. Wham was never going to be middle-aged. We couldn't... It would be slightly unedifying to be doing Young Guns at the age of 60, I'd wager. I would have been fine with seeing that. I'm just saying, I would have been fine.
If there was a karaoke machine out now and it was only offering you Wham tracks, which one would you go for?
I would probably go for I'm Your Man.
I'm Your Man.
Yeah, it has real bristling energy, and it was a really good track to play live. It was slightly rocky, even though actually it was purely electronic. The recording actually, apart from Dion's bass, but. We had an arrangement, a full band arrangement when we played it live, and it was a great track to play live, and it has really it has a great lyric.
What do you think George would go for? Because I read somewhere his favourite track was Everything She Wants. Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, he the stadium tour that we. The show that we produced, the stadium tour, kicked off with an extended intro for Everything She Wants. And when I say extended, its length could only be measured in geological terms. So it was endless. I mean, Shirley Petz and I were backstage thinking, oh my God, how much longer? And it just went on and on
so
and on.
So he really did.
So he
really
did like
track.
that one. Yeah. I mean,
well, just like Wham, I was so sad when the documentary came to an end. It was an absolute delight to watch. It's just Tessa just says the same thing.
It was joyful, wasn't it?
Suggest anybody go and have a watch of this incredible Wham
it's
documentary.
hard not to like.
It really is, and it's been such a pleasure, honestly, talking to you, Andrew.
Thank you,
Ridgley.
very kind.
Real pleasure. Thank you.